A great question that I often get is, what is the best kind of real estate to begin investing as a beginner? That is a great question. I want to give you 7 things to quickly look for and to think through as you consider what is the best real estate to invest in when you're starting out. Number 1 is I would encourage you to buy single family homes to rent and hold long-term at first, primarily for the purpose of learning the business, right? You can do this by buying a home yourself to rent out, or you can sell the home that you're in and go buy another one with a lower down payment and then rent out your last home. Or you could simply take a little bit of money you have and invest that money with an investor who is buying a home, and you're helping them fund the project so that you can learn the process. Right? You then get a positive return on your money and you get the education. But first and foremost, I would encourage you to buy single family homes for the rent and hold as the primary goal. The second thing I would encourage you to really think through is owning a home within 30 minutes of where you live. Especially at beginning and starting out. One, you're going to know that market the best. You're going to know what's going on in the real estate market and what's going on in the economy. You're going to know if there's shifts in the real estate market because you live there. You see the people. You know the kind of people in that area. You know the kind of people that have jobs in that area. You know what kind of jobs are in that area, right? You have local market knowledge just by living there. That is essential. The third thing I would encourage you to do is to remain close to town or public transportation. Even in market shifts, there's always a high demand for that kind of home. Now, number 4, I would suggest buy a home that is within 70 to 85% of the average price point in that area. Okay, so if your average price point of all the homes in the area you live is $500,000, then you want to look for homes that's worth $350,000 to $425,000. The reason is because that kind of home is always going to have a market for it. Even if the real estate market shifts, interest rates go up, there's always a market for that home. So that's number 1 reason. The second reason is that also typically requires individuals to still own a home that have, or rent a home that have a stable income. So it just gives you better tenants. The 5th thing I would encourage you to think about is owning a home that has very low future maintenance costs. I love smaller square footage homes. That means less home to repaint in between a tenant, right? Smaller roof, smaller HVAC system. There's just less that can go wrong. And if it does, it's cheaper to repair it because it's a smaller home. Townhomes are great options because there's very little on the outside that has to be maintained. And of course, on the interior, they're typically going to be a little bit smaller maybe than a large single family home. Number 6, I would encourage you just to stay away from septics and wells at first, if possible. Primarily because septics and wells require a bit of care and you don't live there, somebody else does. When somebody flushes the wrong thing down the toilet or put stuff down the garbage disposal they're not supposed to, it's going to affect the septic. And to be honest, you don't live there, you can't control that stuff. And you have no idea what's going down there. And the expense to repair that could be very costly. So I think it's best to stay away from the septic and wells at first as you're learning the business to be able to lower your future expenses. And then the last one I would put out there is make sure it's a home that has positive cash flow. So you got to be able to buy it and have a mortgage and rent it so that you have positive cash flow. So those are the 7 tips that I would encourage.